trusted news source, ABC6 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Doreen Scanlon. News developing now at noon. Due in court today, the Dartmouth man arrested after a three-state chase yesterday afternoon. 36-year-old Ian Grant faces reckless endangerment and other charges in Connecticut. He's also set to face further charges in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Grant allegedly drove at Massachusetts State Police troopers, resulting in shots being fired at him. This after starting a fire at his Dartmouth home. We'll have much more on this for you on ABC6 News first at 4. And now to the Boston Marathon. It's just days away, and officials are preparing to keep people safe at the event. This morning, officials alluded to the New York City subway shooting and saying a thorough planning and coordination effort is crucial. Mass State Police say they are not aware of any specific or credible threats related to the marathon. As for the suspect in that subway shooting in New York, he is due in court today. 62-year-old Frank Robert James was arrested yesterday after an intense manhunt, one that lasted hours. ABC's Aaron Katersky reports.
Frank James, the 62-year-old police say shot 10 people on the subway and injured 19 others during the Tuesday morning commute, is now charged with a federal crime related to terrorism.
The government will prove, among other things, that James traveled across state lines in order to commit the offense.
James was taken into custody after a more than 24-hour manhunt that followed a terrifying rampage involving smoke grenades and a 9mm handgun.
We used every resource at our disposal to gather and process significant evidence that directly links Mr. James to the shooting.
In the chaos after the shooting, police said James simply boarded the next train and emerged from the subway one stop later. From there, he disappeared into the crowded city, hiding in plain sight.
We were able to shrink his world quickly. There was nowhere left for him to run.
Police are now trying to figure out where he spent the night and how James entered Manhattan, where in the middle of the day on Wednesday, he effectively turned himself in, calling the NYPD and saying, "I think you're looking for me." Members of the public pointed him out to police.
He was just walking like normal, like he didn't do anything before, like something. It's like normal person.
Mayor Eric Adams announced the arrest to a relieved city.
We got him.
The arrest concluded a multi-state manhunt, but the investigation is not over. Police are still trying to establish a motive, poring over social media posts, including one the day before the shooting that said, "I wanted to kill people. I wanted to watch people die." Frank James is appearing in Brooklyn federal court on a terror-related charge that makes it a crime to carry out a violent or premeditated act on mass transit after crossing state lines. It is just a single charge, but it packs a punch, punishable by up to life in prison. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
Well, another mild day here in southern New England. Temperatures have come up into the low 60s. Now there's more clouds around today, but you're getting sun popping through at times. That breeze from the north is very light, not impacting the temperatures all that much here in Providence. We are currently in that low 60s range. Many of us have made it into the upper 50s and low 60s, but it really depends on where you are, how close you are to the water, and the wind direction, because up in Boston right now, it's only 49 degrees. Block Island, 48 degrees, 54 in Taunton, 52 in Norwood. We have a little bit of an onshore flow happening, plus more clouds today. So some spots are running significantly cooler right now compared to yesterday at this time. Now, most of Rhode Island still under that relatively mild air. And we're going to continue to see those temperatures in the Providence area and for much of Rhode Island coming up well into the 60s for the afternoon. Other spots in the low 60s range. Really depends where the thicker clouds are. And you can see very clearly some thick clouds from Boston down towards the Cape, but a lot of Rhode Island up through the Bay under sunshine. So very different locations seeing very different things. Satellite radar image shows you a wide view of more sunshine off to our west. You'll get some pops of sun for the remainder of the afternoon, but a little bit farther to the west in Pennsylvania and New York, western Pennsylvania and New York, some rain showers developing along a cold front. We're going to track that cold front as we head here in the evening hours. We have a brief period where we may end up with some scattered showers and some rumbles of thunder, especially for those inland spots happening around maybe 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening, just after the sun sets. so that line does weaken as it comes through. We do have another really warm day expected tomorrow for this time of year. I'll let you know if it continues for Easter weekend in just a few minutes. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, sounds good. Providence police investigating a stabbing. It happened just after 11 last night, right outside the Black Sheep on Westminster Street. Police tell us a 53-year-old man was stabbed and slashed in the face. That victim ran away and caught up with police on Empire Street. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The search for a suspect continues. Charges upgraded. A 36-year-old son accused of stabbing his father is now being charged with murder. According to police, the victim died Wednesday. 65-year-old Stephen Kersner was stabbed allegedly by his son, Dane Kersner. They are both from North Providence. Kersner is also facing felony assault charges. A suspect arrested in connection with a stabbing in the city Wednesday night, the city of New Bedford, that is. The stabbing happened just before 7 p.m. at the intersection of County and Sawyer Streets. Witnesses telling ABC6 this started over a road rage incident. The condition of the victims is not known today, and the suspect under arrest has not yet been named. And the Missouri Attorney General's office has refiled charges in the Branson Ride the Ducks boat tragedy that involved a local captain. Last week, Stone County Judge Alan Blankenship dismissed without prejudice state charges against 3 Branson Ride the Ducks employees, Captain Kenneth Scott McKee and 2 supervisors, Charles Baltzell and Curtis Lanham. They face 63 felony charges in connection with the deaths of 17 people after that duck boat sank on Table Rock Lake in July 2018. That captain is a Rhode Island native. ABC6 covering our schools now, and some new graduation requirements could come in 2027 for high school students in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island Department of Education proposing students be proficient in computer science, civics, and financial literacy. The full breakdown of the proposals available on the department's website. And tuition across all University of Massachusetts campuses will increase this fall for the first time in 3 years. The board voted 12-2 Wednesday to approve a package of tuition and fee hikes. Tens of thousands of in-state undergraduate UMass students now face a 2.5% jump in tuition. On average, that's about $350. This for the 2022-2023 academic year, as well as increases in room and board costs. And we turn now to our coverage of the coronavirus. The national health officials are watching hospitalizations as cases of the coronavirus spike again in the Northeast. Dr. Ashish Jha, the new White House COVID response coordinator, says hospitals are now at the lowest level of the pandemic. Even as cases tick up because of the BA2 variant, Dr. Jha says he does not expect this to become a major problem across the country. As for extending the public transit and airline mask mandate,
yeah, CDC scientists basically felt that because the BA2 variant has just become dominant in America over the last week or 10 days, 2 more weeks of data will be very helpful in figuring out, is this going to become a major problem, or is this going to be something that we're going to be able to manage pretty effectively? And I think with 15 more days of data, we'll be able to make, the CDC scientists will be able to make a much more data-driven decision.
Dr. Jha says the White House will monitor a possible post-holiday case increase with Easter coming up. And Pfizer's out with some new information about boosters for kids 5 to 11 years old, saying a 3rd shot of the children's dose of Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine raised Omicron-fighting antibodies by 36 times. They are submitting for emergency use authorization in the coming days. It was a small study, but there were no safety issues reported. Booster doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine are already authorized for people 12 and older. There is still much more to come here on ABC6 News at noon. A blow to the Russian military as a warship is evacuated in the Black Sea. This as the U.S. is moving quickly to get more powerful weapons to Ukraine ahead of the next major offensive. Now to the latest on the war in Ukraine. Russia's crown jewel warship in the Black Sea is now out of commission. Ukraine is taking credit, claiming missiles they fired took out the ship, but Russia's blaming the damage on an accidental ammunition fire. ABC's Justin Finch has more.
Named for Russia's capital city, one of the Kremlin's leading warships, the Moskva, is now out of commission. Ukraine's military saying 2 of its anti-ship cruise missiles struck the Moskva as it was patrolling the Black Sea. Russia claiming its war cruiser suffered an ammunition fire and has been abandoned, but not mentioning any missile strike. Today, speaking on CNN, Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby confirming a blast occurred on the Moskva and not ruling out Ukrainian missiles as the cause.
We do assess that there was an explosion, at least one explosion on this cruiser, a fairly major one at that, that has caused extensive damage to the ship.
The U.S. remains concerned about a Russian escalation of its war in Ukraine. Footage from Kharkiv appearing to show the use of cluster bombs. The video raising red flags after the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe stated in a report it's found evidence of Russian forces committing war crimes. As Russia is reportedly readying for a major offensive in eastern Ukraine, the U.S. now moving quickly to supply Ukraine with the more powerful weapons they've been demanding. $800 million in new military aid heading their way, including long-range artillery systems, armored personnel carriers, naval drones, and Russian-made M-17 helicopters.
All of them are designed to help Ukraine, as we talked about, help Ukraine in the fight that they are in right now, and the fight that they will be in coming days and weeks in the eastern part of the country.
Today in Ukraine, 9 humanitarian corridors are set to reopen in hopes of allowing civilians to safely escape after weeks of intense fighting. In Washington, I'm Justin Finch, ABC News.
Next at noon, a big weekend with lots of events ahead. We're going to check in with Chelsea for her full 7-day forecast when we come back. Well, everyone's favorite marathon spectator has a new official title. Spencer the dog named the official dog of the 126th Boston Marathon. He got his own personalized bib and everything to celebrate. Spencer's owners recently announced that the 12-year-old Golden would be returning to his spot on the marathon route after being declared cancer-free.
It's a miracle. He's a miracle boy. He's an inspiration for a lot of people that, you know, you can do it.
He is just the sweetest. If you're heading up to see the race, Spencer is going to be at his usual location along the route in Ashland, about 2 to 3 miles into the marathon course.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Could run 2 to 3 miles to make it to see Spencer and then probably stop there, I think. Good news is it looks like Monday is going to be another gorgeous day and a little bit cooler too for the marathon runners. Today, depending on where you are, you're seeing very different things and feeling different things. We have mild temperatures across most of Rhode Island, and you're getting some sun popping through the thin clouds that are out there, and we'll continue to see kind of a blend of sun and clouds through the afternoon before a line of some rain gets closer for the evening hours. Now, there are spots out there right now that have that breeze coming in right off the water, have some clouds in place, and the temperatures are cooler. This is that shot over Block Island that I show you all the time at noontime from the North Light, where you can typically see the beach. Dense fog over Block Island right now with temperatures that are only in the upper 40s. We're in the 60s in the Providence area, upper 50s in spots like Newport and Westerly. So over Block Island, 10 degrees cooler. Up in Boston right now, the breeze is coming in right off the water. There's fog, there's clouds, and temperatures aren't even at 50 degrees. So it really does depend where you are in just our small area of southern New England that you may be seeing something completely different. And that again is thanks to the little bit of a breeze shift. We're seeing wind from the north. For the Providence area, Smithfield, Newport, we're doing okay. Westerly may cool down a bit. The breeze just shifted and starting to come in off the water. For Block Island, where you get the breeze coming in off the northeast, that does pick up some of that cool ocean water. Same thing for Boston, for Plymouth, out towards the Cape. We're getting some cooler temperatures coming in off the ocean. For the Providence area, though, we're back around 70 degrees today. So we're in that sweet spot where we have the nice warm temperatures and some sun popping through. Tomorrow looks great too. We do have the chance of some rain, but again, that's coming this evening into very, very early tomorrow morning. From there, tomorrow looks sunny. Saturday looks good. Another shot of rain Saturday, but again, that's coming at night and drying out in time for Easter Sunday. But that is a stronger cold front that comes through in terms of the change in temperatures that it brings. We'll be down into the low to mid 50s for Sunday, and for the start of next week, actually slightly cooler than average for this time of year. You can see the thick clouds that have developed for eastern Mass right now. For Rhode Island, again, most of us are bright, but there's some clouds over Block Island and some fog over Block Island. A warm front lifted through. There's a little kind of backdoor cold front trying to develop, but we're seeing dry conditions across most of the areas to our west for now. We're kind of in that dry sector between the warm front that's lifted north and the cold front that's off to our west that we'll be tracking as we head through the later part of the afternoon and more so in the evening hours for us. In terms of severe weather, you can see western Connecticut and western Mass is highlighted for a slight chance of some severe thunderstorms. So often that line is really robust, and you can see stronger storms in western Mass and western Connecticut, and then it kind of falls apart, it fizzles as it gets closer to us. And it looks like that will be the case later this evening. This is 6 o'clock. You can see some storms just to our west. We do have the chance of some brief heavier downpours, maybe a rumble of thunder or two, but overall that line weakens as it moves from west to east. We wake up tomorrow morning, a few clouds thin out pretty quickly. Tomorrow looks great with sunshine, temps in the mid to upper 60s. Into Saturday, you'll see a few more clouds around during the day, and then here comes that cold front that I was just talking about for Saturday evening, overnight into Sunday, and behind that some slightly cooler temperatures move in for Easter Sunday. About 70 again in the Providence area, different in other locations. Tonight we have those evening showers, perhaps some thunder, some patchy fog, temps down into the 40s, and then tomorrow you'll see decreasing clouds pretty quickly. The afternoon looks bright and mild with highs in the mid to upper 60s. 7-day shows mild temperatures still on Saturday. On Sunday, partly sunny, temperatures in the 50s for Easter. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, thank you. And tomorrow is the Red Sox home opener. The ABC6 sports team will be shipping up to Boston. Sports director Nick Coit will preview the game live from Fenway Park. Our coverage begins at noon. And in basketball, the Boston Celtics are set to play Game 1 of the first round of the NBA playoffs this Sunday against the Brooklyn Nets at the TD Garden. The ABC6 sports team will be there. Tip-off is at 3:30. Coverage starts right after the game. Well, still to come, Amazon trying to offset rising costs. Details on a new fee for sellers. And Elon Musk wants to buy more Twitter shares. All of them, in fact. Details on his bid when we come back. In consumer news, no sign that inflation will be letting up anytime soon. The Labor Department's Producer Price Index, which measures where prices are going before they reach consumers, is up a record 11.2% last month. That's compared to a year ago. Prices pushed in large part by a spike in the cost of energy. And Amazon is imposing a new 5% shipping fee on sellers who use its packaging and delivery services. The company says the added fees are to offset inflation and higher gas prices. The surcharge is scheduled to take effect in 2 weeks. Elon Musk could be the new face of Twitter. The CEO of Tesla has offered to buy all of the remaining shares he doesn't already own of the social media giant. According to a filing from the SEC, Musk is willing to pay $54.20 per share, which would value the company at nearly $43.5 billion. That's a 38% premium above the closing price from the start of the month. Well, Starbucks may be pushing back against workers voting to unionize at its shops. The Wall Street Journal now says Chief Executive Howard Schultz has told company leaders that new benefits being developed for employees cannot legally be extended to the union members. Well, coming up next at noon, good news for your sweet tooth. Toll House baking up a new cookie creation. And Chelsea has another look at your afternoon forecast right after this. Before we go today, if you gave up sweets for Lent, do we have some well-timed news for you? Nestle Toll House is stuffing its cookie dough, the first of its kind from the iconic brand. There are 2 flavors to choose from: chocolate chip cookie dough with fudge filling, and there's double chocolate cookie dough with salted caramel filling. You're gonna have to wait a bit though, and Chelsea, I know you're happy to hear this because these flavors don't come out until July, a good 2 months after you're married.
Well, after the wedding diet.
No more wedding diet for you.
Ends. Although I have to ask you, guilty pleasure, have you ever eaten just the raw cookie dough?
No, that's bad for you, Chelsea.
Can you imagine what that tastes like?
No, I know, and that's what's going to happen is people are just going to eat that.
Said delicious.
Our director.
I know. I'm very curious about that. That'll be a post.
Let's do that together. It's a date.
Snack.
You got it.
Bake them and just have a little bit of the raw cookie dough.
Yeah.
We are looking at some sun breaking through, partly sunny in some spots. Some spots have a lot of clouds. It's very mild outside in Providence. Some spots are a lot cooler. It really does depend where you are. We have the risk of some showers and isolated rumbles of thunder this evening. Tomorrow we clear out quickly. Should be another really nice day. Saturday looks decent, and then Saturday evening a cold front comes through and we're a bit cooler as we clear out for Easter.
All right. I'm not sure I registered any of that. I was just thinking about that dough.
No, that's okay.
All right. Thanks, Chelsea. And thank you for joining us for the news at noon. The news continues first at 4. Have a great day, everybody.